everyone. Welcome to the debrief, the award ceremony, and everything you've been waiting to know about our amazing team who put together inteGIRLS Puzzle Hunt 2020. So this team includes the following people who are all fantastic, and I don't think you can see gallery view right now because we're screen sharing, but I'll just say their names. Adam, Avani.
Hi.
Do you guys want last names or no? Adam doesn't, whatever. Avani, Ivy, Joy, Julie, Laura, Matt, Pravi, Rithik, Sana, Shrikar, myself, Sophia, Vishal, and Zain. So that's everyone. We did a lot. Now we're ready for a Q&A. We have some questions that we asked on the forum, and we're going to answer them.
Yep.
Joy, you're the moderator, so you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, so our first question's from Math Hatter 1. How is your puzzle making process? Did you start with a type of puzzle or just the person in mind? And why did you choose the women that you did? And yes, I'd love to know how you got people to register.
So, I mean, the way that each of the puzzles is designed varies a lot depending on the person. So, for example, as you asked, based on the how the people were chosen, how the women were chosen, it depends a lot on the puzzle. Sometimes some people started with a person they had in mind and then built a puzzle around that. Some people start with a general theme and then found a person that fit with that theme. Some people start with the mechanism and then work backwards to find a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a time in like our puzzle making process where we realized that all of the scientists we had were like old white women, and we were like, let's not do that. And so we like decided to add some more representation. And I know like I wrote Contagion because I wanted to include Surgeon General Antonio Novello.
Yeah. So about the puzzle making process itself, I can't really give specific advice. Generally, tip I'd give if you're trying to write a puzzle would be like look for connections between ideas that might not seem to have a connection. Like for example, for Jumping Gene, I started with trying to create a puzzle based around DNA and like jumping genes because I was interested in talking about Parma McClintock. And then I like identify connection between like nucleotide letters and letters in like a crossword. And then the puzzle basically went out from there. So basically just look for interesting mechanisms, look for interesting connections, and then try and find how to tie them together. But again,
definitely.
it depends a lot on the person. There's a question in the Zoom group chat.
Oh, we can get to those like afterward.
Yeah.
Matt, can you be like in charge of collecting the Zoom questions and making sure we get to them? So
yeah, I can do it.
All right, next one.
Yep.
Wait, you didn't answer how it got people to register.
Got people to register. Okay, so this is really cool. Well, I guess it's not that cool, but at first we reached out to a lot of like famous YouTubers. So 3 Brown,
3 Blue 1 Brown.
3 Blue 1 Brown actually tweeted us to his like 170 something thousand Twitter followers, and that helped us get a lot of people to register. And another way is to get people from all across the world. Some of the leadership team, we went around and we found emails from different schools and we contacted those schools directly. And then that's how you got, that's how you like learned about this event from your teachers. Okay, next question. So this question's from NoriCat10. How did you decide whether a puzzle was easy, medium, or hard? Was it up to the puzzle writers only? Did any of you test the puzzles?
Yeah, we all tested like all the puzzles. So we tried to have at least 2 people test solve each puzzle, and then as a group we decided we kind of organized them into the different categories. So clearly we were off about some of them, but it's just because of the mechanism, and we tried to do as much editing as possible. Anyone else?
Yeah, throughout the whole process we tried to like test the puzzles and see what other people thought about them. And I know you guys especially were like, oh, Locations United shouldn't have been an easy puzzle, but I'm just gonna defend myself a little bit and say that the mechanism, we didn't want you to go that complex, so that's why we put it as an easy puzzle. And similar with some of the other ones, that's how we decided. And if there were like more steps to how to get to the solution. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Also,
Yeah, the steps is a big thing. So if a puzzle had a lot of layers, it was more likely to be like a difficult puzzle.
also like about the fact that some people didn't solve them. Like we had at least usually two or three people solve every puzzle, but that didn't mean that every person on the team solved every puzzle. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes like throughout the hunt, we were also doing puzzles alongside you guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like on our like 4 a.m. group chats, on our calls. Ha, that's funny. I like that. I'll talk about that. Like people would just be solving puzzles and we'd watch them. It was great. Okay. Yes.
Next questions from Emerald. Since the live stream is going over Contagion right now, if you guys watch the live stream with Professor Potion Low, I want to know, did you personally place all the locations on the map? What was the process to make the untouched cities be words?
Okay, so this is actually based on the board game Pandemic, which is a great board game and I really like it. So I was like, I wanted to do something based on coronavirus because that's in the news a lot because we're all living under the shadow of coronavirus. And I remember the game Pandemic. I really like including other games like in my puzzles because it kind of gives me like a format that I can work off of. So I had this board, which actually isn't the same as the actual Pandemic board because I had to change some things to get the mechanism to work. So I had this board and I was like, well, what could I do with it? I guess I could have like a viral spread kind of mechanism. And I thought like, well, I have these names. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make it have to do with alphabetical order and I'm gonna have the virus spread on names because I always like puzzles that are self-contained too. If you have, I think that you should be able to solve a puzzle with everything on the board plus like a little bit of Googling. That's my favorite kind of puzzle personally. So in order to make everything work and in order to have the everything come together in the right way, Adam, magical puzzle wizard he is, had to edit the board a little bit for me and add a couple places to make sure I had the right letters in order to make the final answer, which I made a location because, I mean, the puzzle is based on countries and cities anyway. So I was like, okay, Puerto Rico. And also I wanted to include the first female, first person of color, first woman of color to be the Surgeon General, and Dr. Antonia Novello. She's fantastic. She did a lot of work for minority health and children's health. And I thought that this would be a great place to include her. And she's from Puerto Rico, so yeah.
All right, so our next question comes from Spintop. Did any of the team members do an all-nighter helping the contest? So this question hits really close to home because I ended up pulling an all-nighter every single night of the contest. So like the first night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And basically how I dealt with that was I kind of just became nocturnal for a few days. Like I'm trying to get my sleep schedule back, but it's just because so many of our puzzlers are from all over the world, and we can't just like let you guys not have hints or not have help like while we're sleeping. So we definitely thought that we needed someone to be on the help website at all times. And so I agreed to take that spot and join our 4 a.m. squad, which Sophia mentioned before. And sometimes when like our questions were a little bit slower, like we didn't get as many questions, we would just solve some puzzles together, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, actually, I love being on the Slack chat with you guys. So much fun. And I'd probably talk to you guys at some point. And yeah, 4 a.m. Really exciting.
4 a.m. group chat was actually really fun too. Like we had a lot of fun. It was like having like a sleepover 3 nights in a row. It was great.
Yeah. This question comes from GJ Yan. If everything goes back to normal next year, will there be another puzzle hunt? And please, please, please have another one. So we're glad you really
Oh, so cute.
puzzle hunt. And right now, we're not sure if we're gonna have another puzzle hunt. We really want to, but as soon as things clear up with like us having a physical event by next year, we'll probably have the in-person math competition in Washington, D.C. So our puzzle hunt will definitely not be in May, but if we were to have one, it might be earlier or later. So that's all I can say right now. We'll definitely keep all of you guys updated on the forum and via email. We have a lot of emails on our spreadsheet right now, but if you want to stay updated, we'll give you an option for that as well.
Yeah. And we're totally looking into new puzzle writers too. So I saw we put a question on the survey at the end of the thing that you could join our puzzle team, or you could help Joy out with more math competitions. So we'll if we hold another puzzle hunt, we definitely solicit some new puzzle ideas from all of you.
And also, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah,
So,
I'm good.
with the ambassadors thing, I know some people asked. I kind of had an idea for younger girls, like middle schoolers, because I don't think it's as appropriate for middle schoolers to host like an event for high schoolers. So for you guys to get involved with inteGIRLS, we were thinking you could help spread the word. You could start clubs at your school, and you would join the ambassadors club, like the ambassadors of inteGIRLS. And we're still trying to figure out how that's going to work. But as soon as we do, we'll send something out to all of you guys. And so, yeah.
Before we get there, we have a couple of questions from the chat. The first one is from V4913. Sorry if I mispronounced the number. How did you reply to messages so fast? Laura, do you want to take this one? I know you are on.
Yeah, Laura's the fastest.
Okay, so we use Slack essentially and small chat. So whenever you guys chatted something through the website, we got like a notification, and I was just like online a lot. So that's essentially it.
We had like at least 3 people on at all times.
Yeah,
so it was wild.
Yeah, so you were always talking to a real person.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of obvious, but yeah.
Yeah, robots aren't nice.
The other question, or another question we have is from Gracie Smith. The question is, why did you guys start this whole idea? How did you do it? And how long have you guys had this idea? So kind of 3 questions.
Okay, so back in March, I was planning on doing our in-person math competition. We actually had one last year, held in like the DC area. And this year, unfortunately, as you all know, that could not happen. We couldn't have 135 girls smushed into one room in at a college. So this year instead, I was thinking about it. I was like, I didn't know what to do because obviously our in-person contest wasn't going to happen. So I actually I participated in my first puzzle competition, which was CS50X. And I solved my first puzzle. And the second I solved my first puzzle, I realized like I wanted to make a puzzle hunt for integrals this year. And even though I was like completely new to the concept of puzzling, of like puzzle solving, I had a gut feeling that this was like the right thing to do. And so I like called some of my underclassmen helpers, and and we formed a leadership team, and then we started sending out applications for our puzzle writing team, and slowly we became the team that you all know today. And yeah.
And we're just teens like you guys. Like,
technically, I'm an adult. I'm 18. Okay, next question. Do we have any more from the chat, Matt?
That's all the question. Oh, here's a Here's a question from Samhita M. I went to your in-person event last year, but now I live in a different area. Are you planning to expand this contest elsewhere? And I guess I could.
Oh, sorry. That is a great question, actually. And I think that's super relevant to you guys since I checked I started looking at some of your survey answers, and a lot of you guys are interested in starting math competitions of your own in your area, like integrals math competitions. And I think with this puzzle contest, we've been able to reach out to a lot of different people from all over the world. So I'll be sending out more information about maybe starting your own integrals in your like wherever you live. And yeah, so if you responded yes to that, stay tuned for an email about that in like the next few weeks.
Are we gonna address what's on screen right now?
I think we should.
MJ.
MJ.
Oh, okay. My turn to talk. Okay. So if you were on this competition before, I believe 1 a.m. Eastern time of Saturday, you probably realized that our system wasn't that stable. By wasn't that stable, I mean not accessible at all. So this is what happened. When we tested it, Jordan and I tested it a week before, we thought, okay, the max we can have is like what, 20 people pressing the submit button at the same time. And we're like, okay, let's test towards that. And it worked out fine. And we were like, okay, let's upgrade the server just so everything works out fine next week. And we can handle like what, 10 times of it. That's like 200 of you, right? 200 of you, right? And what happened was at the peak time, we had approximately 600 of you pressing the submit button at the same time, or just trying to refresh the page. Apparently that made our server struggle a lot, and the whole thing just went down completely. I do not know if there's a way to prevent this. And if you see on the screen, there between 5 and 6 o'clock, which is when the puzzle hunt started, there were approximately 214,000 requests. That each request is like one of you pressing the refresh button or loading a page on your screen. So and I just posted to the forum earlier. In the past, actually, today's June 1st, and today at noon, I believe we also hit a height of about 69,000 requests in an hour, which is still pretty amazing. So like, as you probably figured out, we were overwhelmed by this, and we never even expected this to happen at all. And you know, if this is going to happen next year online, I can promise you there will be a much more stable way of getting this organized. So yeah.
There are a couple more questions from the chat. This was answered a little bit, but Triangle in the chat, but I'll ask it over voice. Triangle Strike asked, "Whoa, how did you do this? I'm in year 12 and trying to build a video game and cannot imagine running a whole puzzle hunt."
I assume year 12 is seniors. I don't know how the not America works.
Yeah, I think so.
It's 12th grade?
Okay.
Senior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Wow, yeah. I think that, well, Matt and I are like texting outside of this because we're crazy. And he was like, Joy's sheer force of will made this possible, which is true. Joy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No.
Matt's
I'll
sheer
add more.
force of spreadsheets.
I don't think you guys understand how well like our team works together. Like, I don't think any of this would be possible if we lacked a single person on our team. Like, every single person did so much to help this event. Like, it wouldn't be possible if a single person just didn't apply to be a puzzle writer, or if a single person just decided not to join our team. Like, it's all because of us working together. And yeah, so if you want to start an event, I honestly think like for a lot of you guys who want to start like an integrals math competition, you have to find the right team members to work with you. And honestly, like, these events, they're all up to the team. They're all up to how much the team cares about the event and how much they're willing to help, like how much effort and time they're willing to put into it. So
And
I mean,
I can say this but Joy put an absolutely insane amount of effort into making this happen. Every single team that signed up for this tournament was a result of Joy doing some kind of work. So
Yeah.
it's impossible to understate how impressive Joy's work in setting everything up is.
New question about the system. Matt, you
Good
gotta
question.
talk about your spreadsheet powers.
Spreadsheet.
Which question is this?
There's someone who just asked at the bottom.
Oh, sure.
You have professional coders and programmers as part of your team?
Mingjie will take this question very personally. Does this mean you have some professional coders and programmers as part of your team? I was really impressed by how quickly you guys developed an entirely new system after the first one crashed. The answer to that question is Mingjie is still in high school, so not a professional yet. But he's very, very good at coding and programming and stuff. I am not good at stuff, but Joy, again, was thinking about contingency plans in the couple of days before the competition.
yeah, no, that was
No. Matt, you were
it was
thinking.
mostly you. Matt.
This is Matt's spreadsheet. Matt created a spreadsheet, and we were like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And Matt's like, I got this spreadsheet. We were like, let's use that, and then we did.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Matt saved us.
Yep, Matt saved the day.
Yeah. Okay. I want to. Somebody asked how you should prepare for a future puzzle competition.
Do puzzles.
I've done a lot of puzzles in my day. Before this, I ran a different puzzle hunt last year, and I participated in a ton of them. You literally just do a ton of puzzles. So on the inteGIRLS guide to puzzle solving, there's a box on the second page that has a bunch of links to more puzzles you can do and more puzzle hunts that you can participate in. So I think that you should all do more puzzles. They're very fun. Also, that's how to write better puzzles. You kind of get a feel of how people think about them and how you should make one yourself.
I see a few more questions. Wait, are those questions?
Yeah, there was a question. Well, not really a question. But thank you for saying that our puzzles were well written.
Mhm.
And it's really a team effort. None of us wrote 21 puzzles alone. So
No.
we all wrote a
Probably
couple.
more than
Wait,
5.
did you say that? Say that out
Also-
loud. Wait, Zain.
Yeah.
What?
Zain should say something.
None of us wrote more than I think 4 or 5 puzzles. It was definitely a team effort. Things become a lot easier when you have a lot of really dedicated people working
Yeah.
on.
Also, the
Yeah,
puzzle
it
would not
was
have been
crazy.
nearly as good without getting feedback from other puzzle writers and team
Yeah,
members.
definitely.
So we reinforced each other and helped each
Everyone's
other become
feedback
better.
is so helpful.
Some of us had never done puzzles before, so we also made good test solvers and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We had a whole range of experience with puzzles. We made good puzzles. Okay.
I guess we can
Joy, you ready to move on?
Are there any more questions? Get them out now.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Looks like it's okay.
Do more puzzles. They're very fun. You know?
Right.
Yeah. I know. The thing about puzzles is you get addicted because it's just so satisfying to solve one. It's like a high. You're like, oh, I love the solve. I must do more puzzles.
All right. I guess we can move.
All right, let's move on.
Awards. Woohoo.
This is what you're all here for, right? All right, let's start with middle school. Okay. So in middle school, just some general stats, we had 103 teams that solved at least one puzzle and landed somewhere on the scoreboard, which is really, really good. And I just want to say, that represents all of us, say congratulations to all of you guys, because there were some really hard puzzles there. And before getting into the top 5, we just want to take a moment to congratulate all the teams that ranked, the top 15 basically. And yeah, here are the teams. You can look at them and their scores, and yeah, you all did very, very well. So let's move on to the top 5. All right, so in 5th place we have the team with 1,800 points from New Zealand. We have team members Arena, Jin, Arabella, and Giselle from the team Geja. By the way, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your team name or any of your names. Yeah, please don't murder me. Thanks. All right. So in fourth place with 2,000 points. Okay, so we actually had two teams that tied for 2,000 points. So we had to go by our official rules, which basically said the team with the higher percent of correct answers out of all attempts. So that's basically what served as a tiebreaker. So we will get last place from Pennsylvania and West Virginia with members Vivian, Drisha, Havisha, and Grace. They solved 15 puzzles in 149 attempts. So that's about like a 10% correct rate. And yeah, it said we will get last place, but ironically, they did not. They did it.
All right, now let's move on to third place. Solving 11 puzzles in 37 attempts for a 30% correct rate from the Czech Republic, Anna, Laura, and Margaret of PALS, or PALLS. Congratulations. Then, in second place with 2,900 points from South Dakota, Alabama, and California, so we have a team that's from all over the US. Vanessa, Sampada, Carol, and Katerina.
There it is. Okay.
Avisco Girls.
The Visco Girls.
I'm assuming that's how I pronounce it.
Yes, it
Visco is usually spelled without a K, but I don't know. Oh, congratulations. Finishing with 3,200 points, solving 18 of the 21 puzzles from Maryland and South Korea. So that one's all over the whole world. Congratulations to your 2020 inteGIRLS Puzzle Hunt Middle School champions, Amber, Michelle, and Dine from Team Dumplings. Good job, guys.
Yay. Okay.
Yay! Congratulations,
Dumplings!
Okay. And now, high schoolers.
I was so impressed with all of the high schoolers. I think there were so many good puzzle solves and such a range of scores. And they were always trying. The high school board was so interesting to watch. So there were 167 teams that solved at least a puzzle. And so the top 15 were especially good. And so here are the top 15. And so going into the top 5, for 5th place, they got 4,045 points out of possible 4,300 points, solving 20 out of the 21 puzzles, all but one. From Ohio, we have Nora, Casey, Maya, and Alicia of Ubiquitous Blanket. And then, in 4th place, finishing with 4,130 points and solving 20 puzzles from the United Kingdom, we have Eva, Kelly, Bukshan, and Wim from Waslow Applause. And this was a very special team. They deserve like a honorable mention because they maintained 1st place for almost all of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we've been pronouncing your team name Waslow Applause. We're not sure how it's pronounced. So yeah, we've been shortening it to Wazzle as well. Like we just refer to you as Wazzle. But yeah, so it's Waslow.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Sorry for butchering your name, but yeah. So 2 of our teams actually solved all 21 of our puzzles, but asked for hints on 2 medium puzzles. So in the beginning, we were not anticipating anyone to solve all the puzzles. And it was really surprising as we, like this morning, as we were checking the leaderboard, as people were like inching closer and closer to getting all solved. So one team solved every puzzle except for one easy puzzle, but did so without requesting any hints. Those teams are all tied at the top of the leaderboard with 4,200 points. So this is a 3-way tie right here. And we will break this tie like we did in the middle school division with the percentage of submitted answers that were correct. So in 3rd place, drum roll, solving all 21 puzzles in 41 attempts and for a 51% correct rate from California, Joyce, Lynette, Willow, and Cindy of Nu Kappa Upsilon.
Woo! Good job, guys.
Yay!
And in second place, solving 20 puzzles in 30 attempts for a 67% correct rate from Maryland, our home here in Maryland.
Yay, Maryland.
Emily, Amanda, and Grace of Bean Squad.
Woo!
Good job.
Bean Squad was the team that used no hints.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
puzzles.
We're very impressed.
All right. And finally, the one you've been waiting for. Solving 21 puzzles in 28 attempts for a 75% correct rate. That's so high.
That's so high.
From the United Kingdom. Congratulations to your 2020 inteGIRLS Puzzle Hunt High School champions, Ricky, Freya, Yoonjin, and Pippa of Easy as Pie.
Woo! Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Congratulations, everyone who participated.
Congratulations, everyone. Anyone who solved a puzzle. Or anyone who even tried on a puzzle. Y'all are great.
Yeah, these were not easy puzzles.
You guys like exceeded our expectations in like all ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as I said, we weren't expecting anyone to solve all the puzzles, much less two of the teams. So, like, that was definitely really cool to see.
And a 3-way tie for first is just the craziest thing you can imagine. We were freaking out, trust
And
me.
watching the scoreboard.
Oh my god. The
Watching
walk-
An experience. Yeah.
We were
Oh
literally,
my God, especially at like 4 in the morning.
yeah,
Oh
we
my
were
god.
watching the scoreboard, like ESPN sports commentators. Like, we were like, what's this team's move, like next move? And we were like watching everyone like shift up and down. And it was crazy.
Oh my god, it was so fun though.
Yeah.
Yay.
While we were writing the scientist bios, I guess we should plug.
This should probably be for Adam, right?
Adam, you want to talk?
So, I mean, puzzling by itself is really fun, but it also has a deeper connection to the real world and like STEM in general. So it's particularly pertinent now. This quote from Nancy Roman, who was featured as the scientist in question referenced in Star Sailor, who said, "If you enjoy puzzles, science or engineering may be the field for you. Scientific research in engineering is a continuous series of solving puzzles. It is also a continuous process of learning new things, whether you discover them or study the work of others." So it's just a really interesting way of viewing the STEM field in problem solving in general. And I hope that you can take these ideas, these lessons you've learned from the puzzle competition and apply them in STEM throughout your life. So.
Oh man. Look at us.
We hope you had fun. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
Yeah.
Great.
This
Would
is
you
really
just get
great.
in a heartbeat? Yep.
Really awesome
Yeah.
to be
Easily.
together and just solve puzzles and have a great time. So
Hopefully we spiced up your quarantine a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay.
Bye.
Do
think that's
puzzles
it.
and math quiz. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank all of you.
Yeah.
Thank all of you.
Oh, you guys are like so sweet. Like never once when we were answering questions did we get like a rude comment or anything. So like we really, really appreciate that.
Blair.
Like really.
Big Blair energy.
I see.
Like no salty competitors.
oh yeah, sorry. If for the winners, if you got first place, you will be getting an email about your prizes. We haven't decided exactly how we're gonna do it yet, so we're gonna ask you. We're gonna involve you in how the prizes will be distributed. So definitely check your email soon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, even when our like entire system crashed and nobody could do anything, you guys were all so supportive.
Yeah, that was like
Especially you, Triangle
wow.
Spike. You're the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Any final words?
Good.
Good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I think this is time to wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye. End it like we did at the beginning. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
How are you puzzling?